Hey everybody, it's Melissa Martinez, and it is Friday, so you know what that means, right?
It's FitFriday.
It's
Fit Friday.
And that means we're talking everything
Fitness.
And you know, it's a great time of year to be talking about fitness because a lot of people are making their New Year's resolutions. We got 2 weeks until Christmas Eve, and that means we got another week until the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's coming up pretty quick, isn't it?
It is.
So last week we were here with Jay, guys. If you guys remember, Jay is with Team RWB. Jay's also a personal coach. He's a health coach. He's a running coach. He's got his hands all over fitness in this area. But he was talking about a program called 75 Hard, and you could go on jteagues.com, correct, to talk about that. We talked about that last week, but it starts on January the 4th, and anybody can enter into it. It's totally free, which we think is amazing. And now that's the reason we have Craig Hortzman here, who kind of started the madness, I hear, and is going to tell us, you've already started, so kind of tell us a little bit how you got started with it.
So I got started with it. I was looking for a challenge. Last year, I was coming out of a job where like my personal fitness and stuff had slacked really hard. And I just moved here and I knew I needed to get back after it. I have 5 kids ranging in the age from now 16 to 10 months old. So physically, I'm going to be trying to keep up with kids for a long time, and I needed something to get me back into that. Plus, I'm getting ready to retire from the military, and I know a lot of guys who have retired, and as soon as they take the uniform off, they don't have that purpose fitness-wise anymore.
We've heard that a lot.
And things essentially go south for them, and I didn't want to be one of those people. I didn't want to become one of those statistics. So I knew I needed something to get me back into it. I've been very physically minded, if you will, for several years. I was stationed before. I coached at some different CrossFit gyms here. So fitness is nothing new to me, but it was something I knew I had to get back into. So I found 75 Hard. I was thinking about doing it. I knew it was going to be difficult, but I knew I would do better with it if I had other people around me doing it as well.
For accountability.
Yes, for accountability, absolutely.
Yeah.
My mindset, it's very easy for me to get into something difficult and quit. But if I have other people around me doing it, then it makes it that much easier to stick with it. So I got on Facebook, said, hey, I'm going to do this challenge. If anybody wants to do it with me, cool. If I get enough people, I'll start a Facebook group for it. I did not at all foresee that I was even going to start a Facebook group, and very soon I had a Facebook group with like 30 different people in it who wanted to do it.
A lot now.
Yeah, it's grown a lot.
Yeah.
We had several people that got into it and did it in that group. That group kind of, as people either completed or kind of dropped off the wagon, if you will, or whatever, kind of slowly fizzled. But that's kind of when Jay came in. Right after I started, I ran into him and I kind of trash talked him.
Now, you guys were friends before this, right?
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was the way it was easy to pull him in because you knew that he was a sucker for a dance.
Yes, absolutely.
I wasn't going to do it. I thought he was crazy, and I was like trash talking him on Facebook. And as soon as I do, I was like in a room up in Building 470 on post. I walk out, and he was standing right there. I'm like, okay, this is Noman. This is a challenge.
Yeah.
The gauntlet's been thrown down. I'm going to do this.
So, yeah, I ended up doing it. Went through 75 days with no issues. Of course, it always helps that there are people. Now, it's not just that I'm just doing it with people. It's like, this is my Facebook group. I'm kind of in charge. I'm leading. And when you have people looking to you, then obviously it makes a huge difference. So I got through it. And yeah, it's been a great thing like Jay talked about last week. It's just the discipline and stuff that's come from it for me this year has just been a game changer. While other people are... 2020 was a wreck of a year for them. For me, it's been awesome.
Right.
So,
you know, and I love that too because I want to hit on the discipline portion that you talked about. So a lot of times people don't reach their goals because they don't have the discipline. Because discipline is definitely, it's a practice. We don't get it overnight. It's by repeated efforts over and over and over. So what I'm watching through the 75 Hard is that the discipline, because things are laid out. I mean, they know from day to day what they need to do so they can, one thing on getting discipline is preparing yourself, like I can do this, I can do this, I can be ready. So that's one thing I've noticed about the 75 Hard, plus the fact that it's local. People don't have to worry about, you know, if they want to actually get in touch with a person or do a workout with a person, there are people here that they can actually get with rather than a nobody at the end of, say, another type of program that they may want to do. So that being said, I'm going to ask you 3 of the main reasons that this program can be done by anybody and why it's a great program for anybody.
3 of the main reasons why it can be done by anybody is there's really nothing special needed to do it. You have to do 2 workouts a day, but there's nothing that says what those workouts have to be. There's
Yes.
nothing that says
We
that it
wanna
has to
stress
be.
that.
Yeah, there's nothing that says that it has to be in a gym. There's nothing that says that it has to be anything crazy.
Could it be walking the dog?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
Jay covered that last week as well. You can walk for 45 minutes. I've actually done this through my process. Like one day I would walk for 45 minutes and then I would do yoga at night, and those are my 2 workouts. Reading books is always a bonus. I've legitimately read more books this year than I think I probably have in the last 10 years of my life.
Wow.
So there's been a lot of knowledge gained there, as well as through our Facebook groups, discussion on those books, and just learning what we can from those. Water, I mean, we all got it. It's easy to do.
And what he's talking about, that's a gallon of water.
Yeah, you have to drink a gallon of water every day, which is a little intimidating for people sometimes, but once they get it, we've had several people in the groups that have said even just that has made a huge difference
Now,
physically.
Can I ask you something about the water thing? Because I'm asked this a lot as a trainer as well. Can they add something to it? People that can't, can they just do lemon juice? It's natural?
Nope.
Or is it just plain
Gotta
water?
be plain water.
All right, guys, you heard it. I didn't make it up. He did. Okay. Plain
So,
water.
but yeah, so I mean, there's not any of the tasks that require anything crazy, no special equipment needed, and it's really just to get you moving. One of the benefits of it, one of those workouts has to be outdoors.
Yes.
And I did mine in January, February, March, and there were days that I came back with snow and ice and whatever. Like my rain jacket was frozen because it rained and it was freezing cold. But it just develops that mentality that yeah, it sucks, but you can do it. Just like you were saying, you can do these things, and once you do these things, it makes a huge difference in your mentality, because life will throw things at you. You're like, you want to throw your hands up and quit, but then you look at it and you're like, hey, I did this. That means I can do this because I've been successful before.
So breaking that down, it's a gallon of water,
Yeah.
2 workouts, and
So 2 workouts a day, both have to be 45 minutes. One has to be outside. Drink a gallon of water every day. Read 10 pages of like business related or mindset related material every day. Take a progress picture every day, and pick a diet or an eating style. I hate the word diet because
Yeah, I
diets
don't like dieting.
generally
I
fail.
don't like dieting.
Pick an eating style and stick with it for 75 days. No cheat meals, no cheat days, no alcohol.
Okay.
So those are the 5 rules.
So it's pretty easy, and that going back, that's easy for everybody if we look at it, and because I want to stress once again that these workouts, if you're looking at this 75 bar and going, oh my goodness, I haven't done 45 minutes of exercise in my life, much less two sessions a day. Well, that could be, I'm looking at it from someone who works with a lot of older people as well. That could be as easy as putting like one of those little stair steppers in front of the TV, right?
Yep, absolutely.
They can do it that way. It could be as easy as doing laps around your kitchen, right? Oh, so this is good. It's getting easier.
Jay
okay.
told his story last week about walking around the airport. I actually had to do the same thing. I had somebody flying in and I had to pick them up in Springfield. And I was literally walking laps around the Springfield airport. If any of you have been there, you know how small it is.
Yes,
with my 16-year-old daughter just walking laps,
Yeah.
waiting for my sister-in-law to come in. And the 3 people that were there are like, what's this crazy guy doing? But yeah, I've done it. I had to take my daughter to Louisville, Kentucky to the hospital for surgery. And once she got out, while she was in surgery, I was walking laps around the outside of the hospital waiting for the call that she was done. And then when she was in recovery for a week, I would do yoga in her hospital room on the floor on a towel for 45 minutes with my phone. And I would make sure everything obviously was good with her, and I would go outside and I would walk laps around the hospital outside.
So
that's
this
what I
sounds like to me more than just getting disciplined, that this is a great program to establish some resilience.
Yes.
Which, if you guys are not familiar with that term, it is the ability to adapt and overcome very, very quickly, which is it's very important for any time, but especially at this time now when there's been roadblocks everywhere you go. The same things that were okay yesterday may not be okay today, and if you get that mental block that, oh my goodness, this is changing again. Whereas if you have resilience, you're like, okay, I'm just going to go with it. I know how to do it because I've learned it through the 75 parts.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing that benefits is, like, life will throw us a curveball, and we tend to get down and depressed, but when you've got these tasks that you have to do, you may see that you're not going to win anything today. But when you have these tasks that you have to do because they're part of the challenge, and you start getting through those tasks, then you start to develop that winning attitude. So, hey, I've already done this, and even if you've done nothing else by the end of the day but those 5 tasks, you've still done 5 things to improve yourself throughout the day. So that day is still a win. So it gives you things to strive for. So you don't get those days that you start stacking up days and, I didn't get anything done, or my life is crazy. You still got these things that you've gotten done that you can look at and say, hey, I really did get something accomplished, because I've accomplished these tasks every day. So regardless of everything else that's going on, I've done 5 things for the last 75 days that improved me as a person.
That is amazing. And 75 days, because, you know, it takes, 6 weeks basically is what they say to establish a habit. So 6 weeks is about 42 days, so you're right there at it. But my question is this too, for anybody out there watching, who is the oldest person that you guys have ever had to do this program that you guys have seen? It doesn't have to be you personally, but
Katie, trying to think of like some other. I've seen some other groups out there. There's some people in their 70s that have.
Good.
Yeah.
My mom, who is 70 something, actually started to try it. She had to have knee replacement surgery, so that took her out. But even leading up to that, I mean, she was just to get outside and move. And so, I mean, yeah, I haven't been in a lot of the other groups. I just got started my group and whatever.
Right.
But I know there are a lot of people out there who have done it of all ages.
In all fitness levels. You
Yeah.
got people, some start off with nothing. Am I right about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
We know someone that was going through cancer and chemotherapy and was doing it, and it really kept her grounded mentally, and that was truly inspirational.
Yeah,
to see someone.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what's my excuse for the day? You know, like,
Yeah.
it really pales into comparison. So.
If she can do it, then any of us can.
She did 75 hard back to back.
Yeah.
Wow.
She came out 75 days and went right. Somewhere along the way was when she found out. And she just said she finished her 75 days and she's like, I'm going to do it again because, like I was saying, she knows she can win these tasks. When everything else is going crazy in your life, obviously, when you find out you have cancer, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But she was still able to work through those tasks. So despite everything else that was going on, she was still able to mark those days as a win.
So I want to ask you, that really got me to thinking too, because, you know, we talk about excuses a lot, and here's a person who could have legitimately had a million excuses that were very plausible excuses. You wouldn't have blamed her at all, but she chose not to. So what are some of the biggest excuses that you guys see, and combat those excuses?
I think, I'll jump in on this first. I think the number one excuse that I have seen, because I've had friends tell me this when I was talking about doing it, I had friends who sent me messages, they're like, you can't do it, is that they don't have time for 2 workouts a day. That's probably the biggest excuse that I have seen yet. The second big excuse is not wanting to give up alcohol, honestly. But yeah, there's a lot of people that don't see that I don't have time for 2 workouts. And to combat that, if you've ever been through like a financial planning class, the first thing you'll do is that whoever that is, that coach, that financial planner, whatever, will have you sit down and write down everything that you spend because you say you don't have extra money. And when you look through your budget, you realize you waste your money on a lot of different things that you could actually save. So when it comes to the I don't have time, sit down and map out what you do in a normal day. Look at how much time you spend on your phone. Look at how much time you spend playing video games. Look at how much time you spend watching TV or sleeping or napping or doing nothing. And when you start to look at that, you realize that you actually do have time. And sometimes it may take some work. I started having to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning so I could get my workouts in the morning and still have the time for my family and for work and everything else. So sometimes, there's some extra work involved. It's going to make you a little uncomfortable. But now, almost a year later, I still, during the week, I'm up at 5 or 5:30 every morning just so I can get my day started good. On my weekends, if I sleep in, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. And then I'm up and moving and accomplishing my tasks for the day. So that's kind of the biggest one that I have seen.
And that's the one right there, just getting, I love that you said that, because I was actually talking to someone last night and I was just reflecting on many, many years ago, before I decided to get disciplined, I did spend a lot of time watching TV, and I didn't realize how much time I had spent watching TV until I got an injury. I got an Achilles tendonitis. And so that really brought me down, and that was the time when I got serious of, okay, I'm going to use this time for something beneficial. It was something that I kind of decided. So rather than watching TV, I did more Bible study, because that's what grounds me. And I realized, by giving up TV, man, I had like 4 hours a day. And I didn't miss TV at all, because I looked at it from the avenue of short-term sacrifice equals long-term gain. What I was sacrificing now, the eternal value of what I was switching it for, TV for knowledge, what had so much more value than the TV did. And honestly, I never went back to it, and I don't miss it, because that's what that is. That's a life stealer. It steals your time, because you never get your time back.
Well, and what a lot of people will do is they get up first thing in the morning, and the first thing they do is grab their phones. and they go through Facebook or they go through email or whatever. And in all honesty, there's so much negativity in social media right now. And I'm kind of stealing your thunder because I've kind of gotten this from you a lot over the process.
It's working.
Is you get on social media and there's so much negativity out there that it sets the tone for your day. And you see all the craziness with whether it's politics or COVID-19 or whatever it is, that it puts you, you literally waste hours scrolling through Facebook. It's what it's designed for, is to draw you in.
And you're not gaining anything.
Yeah, and you don't gain anything
from
it.
No gains
when you look at it first thing in the morning, you get drawn into it, and it really sets a negative tone for your day. Because that's what I used to do. But now I get up and like I'm reading my 10 pages for the day or whatever, or I'm going straight out to work out, and it has completely changed my outlook on my days. Because instead of just literally scrolling through my phone, and next thing you know, I'm like, crap, I've been doing this for an hour and a half, and now I have to rush to get ready or to get the kids ready or whatever, to go to work, to go to school. I've got that productive start to my day that will set the tone for the rest of my day.
So basically, let's put it down in this way too. We always talk about food for the body. What we put in the body is what we're going to get out in production as far as running or working out or whatever. But what we put into our mind is what we're going to get out of it throughout the day. If we put in negativity first thing.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I've done a lot of research on this, and we've seen it. Negativity causes all kinds of heart problems. It causes, it's horrible for the body. Stress. Yeah, and it's as debilitating as, a lot of other bad habits that you can have. Worry and stress, anxiety, all those things are very hard and unhealthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it starts off with a choice first thing in the morning.
It does, 100%.
Yeah, Jay, you posted something about that the other day. What was it yesterday about being done with social media and the negativity about it?
Yeah, bottom line is you've really, there's so much negativity out there with social media. It's like garbage in, garbage out, and it really does have a huge impact on how you think and how you interact with other people. I know when I was feeling at my worst and I knew I needed to change my life, I started doing an inventory of what I was doing with my time. I was listening to a lot of talk radio. I would wake up in the morning and turn on the news. And like so many people, people wake up bashing the president or the president-elect. You wake up in that mindset, that's toxic.
It's toxic.
It's toxic.
Yeah.
You should not wake up and be thinking about the news or the White House. You should be focused on what's going on in your own house. And it's a very difficult habit to break because everyone is so spun up in it.
And
that's
it's so
really
accessible.
Yes, and that's changing some habits and mitigating the amount of that negative input will change that for you.
That's true. It starts the tone for the whole day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's very
true. And I've had to unfollow some people, and everyone has a volume knob. And I always tell people, everyone's got a volume knob. You got to turn the volume down on some of this stuff because it really does affect you. Find people that are positive and put them in your circle. Hit that unfollow button on some of that negative, because there is a lot of positive stuff on you got to sift through it.
There is.
It's unbalanced, but there's a lot of people that are posting a lot of positive stuff. And I try to do that to get engaging conversations and add some value to the world. I get caught up and I'll put something negative, but it's a lot less than I used to because of the influences that are on my social media.
But that being said, let me ask you guys if you confer with me, because I'd be willing to bet $100 you would. So as a runner, I spend a lot of time alone. I spend a lot of time alone with my thoughts. And you know that when you're out and you don't have all that other stimulation, you smell better, you hear better, you sense better, like your senses are on height. So you experience life more. I think when you're in your phone, or you're like living virtually. You're living through somebody else's life, or and all these beautiful things are going on around you, and you don't hear them. You don't hear the birds. You don't smell, the fresh air. You just don't, because you're so focused on that. Yeah. And so I think, I'll just throw this in there. If you start 75 hard, one of the things that would be beneficial, in my opinion, is to throw in an hour of quiet time.
Yeah. The walking or the jogging, I usually do one of the two, walk or jog, and I'm usually listening to a podcast, something positive.
Positive, yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe sometimes it's just on silent, just enjoying nature.
Mm-hmm.
When you start to do that more often, you really detach from the negativity. You start to realize that, life isn't so bad.
No.
Some people are hurting right now, and there are some general concerns and worry, but by and large, it's a beautiful day here in the park. And you can get really caught up in all that negativity, and it really, it can ruin the day for you.
Well, now that being said too, one of the byproducts of 75 hard, correct me if I'm not wrong, or if I'm, is, okay, so you're getting a lot more exercise, you're eating better, you're drinking a lot of water, so mentally, you're getting better.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're thinking better.
Yeah.
Well, plus you get into the direction with the books is like we're not reading tales or whatever else. You have to read something that's like, say you're an entrepreneur, it's something business related or something to better you as a person. So you start getting into a lot of mindset books and you're reading things that are interesting to you that are going to improve you. So yeah, you're changing the game of what you're putting into your head. Like I've read a lot of books about like habits and positive habits, Miracle Morning, so starting your day off. I've read a lot of financial books like how to save and how to whatever. And I mean, it's changed my outlook on a lot of things.
And then you don't keep that for yourself because you guys go to that Facebook page, that positive page, and I'm watching it, and people are sharing the good stuff. They're sharing a lot of bad stuff too.
Yeah.
But every time they share bad stuff, they're combated with encouragement and hey, you can do this, and hey, tomorrow's a new day. But that accountability group, Jay and I talk about this almost every time we're together about how crucial accountability is to your success.
Like I said, that's what got me into it, got me through it, and kind of started all this madness around here, at least within our circle, was the accountability piece. If it wouldn't have been for the accountability piece, I probably wouldn't have finished it, or it would have taken me several times to do it. But with that accountability piece, it was a lot easier than it would have been.
Well, I'm watching a lot of your posts, and I love your transparency. Were you always like that, or was it something that you said, hey, what I'm going through can help somebody else, so I'm just going to tell them?
Well, like with what I'm doing now, not to get into the depths of other things, but like I'm doing a different part of the challenge where I have to meet somebody new every day and I have to do random act of kindness every day. And I know Jay is going to be doing that very soon. So I started sharing those experiences within the group. One, maybe to kind of give him ideas when he gets into it, and anybody else who may get into it. But two, for that to show everybody else in the group, hey, I met this person today and this is what they do. To me, I think, not to get off subject, but we go through our days kind of in a tunnel, if you will, and especially the people around us who perform services for us, we don't pay attention to. It's just somebody who gives me my coffee, or somebody who hands me something through the gas station drive-through window, or whatever it is. So I've made it a point, because I'm guilty of it as well, to meet those people. Yeah, I've seen them every day at Starbucks or whatever it is, but I've never actually taken the time to meet them.
Like look them in the eye.
Yeah, look them in the eye. Hey, what's your name? Hey, I'm Craig. What do you do? How long have you worked here? Do you enjoy it? Do you have family? Whatever. And that's something that I've become big on anyway, and by putting that in the group, I'm hoping to encourage others to do the same. The same thing with the random act of kindness. My wife is not a fan that I put it on there because she thinks I'm doing it, but she doesn't think thinks that people could see it as me doing it to get credit for what my random act of kindness is, but it's not. One, it's for ideas for others who may do it later.
Well, you're just sharing it with the group. You're not shouting it from the mountaintops.
But it's also to hopefully encourage others to do the same. Just to spread that, because if we all start doing those things regularly, then I think as a whole the world is a much better place than where we are right now.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love it. So I'm just going to kind of end it here because that's a lot of information, but I think it's a great program. So they can go on jteagues.com.
jteagues.com/75hard. So we've got just over 100 people now that are in the group, and it's going to continue.
I'll leave the link under the YouTube description.
Yeah. We've got, for those that want to participate, I mean, the group is free, but the month of January, I have a book identified for the first 3 months, like really impactful books. So if you're not much of a reader, this is a good way to be introduced to something positive, and we'll do like a group call. I'm actually putting together, we have a bunch of like fitness trainers, mindset coaches in the group, and I'm developing a list, like a menu. Like, so if you don't have a fitness program, you want to reach out to someone, you can reach out to someone in the group.
That's awesome.
And just have like a structure, and just every day I ask if it was the day a win or a loss, and people basically kind of describe how the day went for accountability.
So this is like a people helping people group.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. And Craig, so can they go on the page too and join it and look and see what's going on there? Or is that something
you so when you basically go to my site, I'm going to send you an email with a couple instructions.
Okay.
You have to listen to the podcast, and then I add you to the group, and then from there you introduce yourself, and then ask away. And you're in the group.
That's awesome.
And like I'm gonna send like a weekly newsletter with some motivation, some positivity, things like that.
Hey Craig, so I'm going to end this with this. I want to ask you something. Think about someone that has joined, like maybe the person that's come the farthest or you've seen the most improvement. Can you kind of share, without naming names, somebody who did that as a way to inspire someone else that maybe thinks that they can't do it, or, you know?
I hate to do this, but we've already talked about that person.
Oh, the person that we talked
absolutely.
about. Okay.
And I think she was.
You have one?
They're probably the biggest success story from our group. But I've seen a lot of people come a long way, myself included, Jay included. And not to toot my own horn, but just kind of put it out there. Like I've put a big focus. I've been in the military for 22 years. I've never had a lot of time for family just because of being in the Army. And I have definitely shifted. COVID and teleworking has definitely helped, but to put more focus into like my family, my kids, myself. So for me, it's been a big success story. But I think if you want to talk about, in my opinion, the person who's come the farthest, who got the most out of it, we've already talked about that person.
And she's somebody you'll never forget.
Absolutely.
And
I mean, I've known her for
inspired-
years. I wouldn't have forgotten her anyway, but that just makes it that much better.
And she probably inspired countless other people.
100%.
Which people who join this group, that's one of the things that they have the power to do. So you wanted to share one though, Jay?
Yeah, without naming names, it was a local business owner. I had no idea she was even doing 75 hard. She was just in the group and watching. And it wasn't until she reached out to me on day day 70, between day 70 to 75, saying that she missed something. I had no idea that she was even doing the challenge. She was just watching us and doing it on her own. And she just like, you know what, I screwed this up. I just want to let you know. She'd lost like 30 pounds, had like a huge shift in her mindset, was just very thankful and was going to take a break from it and then maybe come back in. But what caught me off guard was we had no idea. You never know who was watching you. And it was just incredible because I had no idea. It caught me off guard in the change that she had through that process. That one stood out to me.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Hey guys, and so, you know, if this isn't a fit for you, you know, if you're looking for something else, just remember at the health department, we've got the Couch to 5K program coming up. There's a lot of other programs that you could literally reach out to any one of us, and we'd be happy to talk to you about it and say, hey, this is a perfect fit for you, or this is a perfect fit. We've talked before. We've got the Frog Fitness Group. We've got Team RWB. We've got our Healthy Futures Pulaski County. We put on over 14 events. Gosh, we put on 16 events a year. Most of those are free. There's always Team RWB puts on tons of events in every week. So there's always a place for you. And we want to stress one more thing, and you guys are definitely going to be in with me on this. All of these groups are so inviting and welcoming to everybody. You don't have to be intimidated. You don't have to be a rock star in the fitness world. You just have to be willing to get off the couch.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for your time. It's going to be a great Friday. It's going to be like 70 degrees.
It's going to be awesome.
Get outside.
It's weird.
I think more people would do 75 hard if we had this weather year round.
It's more of a challenge in January and February. What
Yes,
else do you
it
have to
is.
do? There's nothing else to do.
No, just go out in the snow. Hey, the snow angels, are those a 45-minute workout?
Hey, that works.
I don't know if I want to do snow angels for 45 minutes, but I could do it.
I think it counts.
But you could, right?
You could.
Yeah. I've done outside workouts in snow and ice, in like torrential downpours that turned into lightning storms that I had to get back to the house. I did one was it 2 weeks ago? We had the tornado warning. As soon as the tornado warning cleared, I still had to go do my outdoor workout. So, I mean, it's just kind of whatever.
We do have a couple people in the group that are from Canada.
Yes.
And they have already had like ice and snow from a couple months ago. So if you log in and you see that, you're like, there's no excuse. If you have the right gear.
That's true. If you do have the right gear, you're right. There's no excuse.
Yep.
And we can help you with that too, right?
I actually dropped a link in there for like a site that I use for my gear. It's like 60% off. So.
Oh yeah, Steep and Cheap. I saw that.
SteepandCheap.com. Yeah.
Oh, that was just a plug out there.
There's one more thing I want to put out. I know we talk a lot about the group and Jay's group here. If it's a program that you're interested in and you don't want to do it in a group, it's not something that we own. You can search it. Search 75 Hard. Andy Frizella came up with it. He's from St. Louis. And you can find the rules and go do it yourself. It worked for us, and we were able to kind of pool our resources and what we know to help others along. So if it's something you're interested in, go check it out. Do it on your own. If you're not a social person and you don't want to be in a social media group, or you don't have social media or whatever it is, it's out there for anybody. So we don't own the rights to this.
Right. Right.
It's just worked for us really well. So yeah, even if you don't want to do it with us, like you're somebody lurking in the shadows, it's like, hey, I kind of want to do that, but a lot of this sounds overwhelming. Google 75 Hard, find it, and
Yep.
get after it.
I love that. I love that. So next week, guys, we're going to be talking about some fitness tips nutrition tips, because eating and exercise go hand in hand. You can't outrun a bad diet. You can't outwork out a bad diet. So we're going to be talking about that. So thank you, Jay. Thank you, Craig. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
These are my friends, even outside of this. So it was a blessing to have you guys here today. Thank